In 1938, a man digging a cistern in the village of Igbo-Ukwu in what is now southeastern Nigeria struck bronze. What he unearthed and what archaeologists will later confirm was evidence of one of the most technically advanced casting traditions in sub-Saharan Africa, dating back to the 9th century AD. Centuries before European contact, centuries before colonialism rewrote the story. The question was not whether the Igbo had a history. The question was, who would be trusted to tell that story? This is a documentary about 4 of such people, not warriors, not politicians, but intellectuals armed with the archives, oral traditions, field notes, and the fierce conviction that a people without a documented past is a people made permanently vulnerable to the lies of others. To understand why Professor Angulu Onwuejeogwu matters, let's examine the colonial anthropology and what it had done to the Igbo. For the much of the 19th and early 20th century, British administrators and the European ethnographers described the Igbo as a people without kings, without states, without organized civilization, a people of scattered, ungovernable villages. It was nothing but a useful fiction, because people without political structure are easier to subjugate. Onwuejeogwu would dismantle that fiction in just years of historical work. Born in 1932 at Ibuzo, a western Igbo community in present-day Delta State, he trained as a social anthropologist and became one of Nigeria's most consequential scholars of the pre-colonial Igbo world. His landmark 1981 work, An Igbo Civilization, Nri Kingdom and Hegemony, was a direct challenge to the colonial record. Onwuejeogwu argued with various rigorous ethnographic and oral historical evidence that the Nri Kingdom, centered in what is now known as Anambra State, was not merely a ritual center, but a sophisticated political hegemony that shaped culture, law, and spiritual life across the vast region of Igbo land for centuries. The Nri, he demonstrated, held authority not through military conquest, but through ritual power. The control of Ofo, the sacred symbol of moral authority, the Ichi, the facial scarification that marked initiated men. It was a civilization built on religious legitimacy rather than armed force. That, Onwuejeogwu argued, was not the absence of civilization. It was, in fact, a distinct and philosophically rich form of civilization. His earlier work, his social anthropology of Africa, an introduction in 1975, extended this intervention to the continental stage, repositioning Africa's people as a rightful subject, not merely objects of anthropological inquiry. What Onwuejeogwu gave the Igbo studies was theoretical backbone. He did not simply recover facts, he recovered frameworks, ways of reading Igbo society on its own terms. If Onwuejeogwu was the anthropologist of the soul, then Professor Adiele Afigbo was the historian of the Igbo world. Born on the 22nd of November 1937, Afigbo came of age intellectually at the University of Ibadan in the 1950s and 1960s. At the very moment when the Ibadan School of History was establishing that Africa had a rigorous, recoverable past that deserved serious academic treatment. He became one of the most celebrated graduates and eventually one of the most important voices in that university. His 1972 masterwork, The Warren Chiefs' Indirect Rule in Southeastern Nigeria, 1891 to 1929, remains essential reading for anyone seeking to understand how the British administration systematically distorted the Igbo society. The British, lacking the traditional chiefs and hierarchical structures they were accustomed, started imposing authority through inventing them. They appointed warren chiefs, individuals granted artificial authority by colonial courts, often with little or no organic standing in their community. The resulting dislocation of social order culminated in 1929 in the Aba Women's Resistance, one of the largest anti-colonial uprisings in West African history. Afigbo's documentation of this process was not merely historical, it was a forensic examination of colonial damage. His 1981 work, Ropes of Sand, Studies in Igbo History and Culture, turned the more difficult terrain of pre-colonial Igbo society, its origins, its internal migrations, its social structures. The title itself was a provocation. Ropes of Sand referred to the notoriously elusive and contested nature of early Igbo history, which left few written records and whose oral traditions resisted easy systemization. Afigbo did not pretend the difficulties away, he walked through them. Later, he edited the Groundwork of Igbo History, a collective scholarly enterprise that remains a standard reference in the field. Afigbo died in Enugu on the 9th of March 2009. He left behind over 80 published works. Most importantly, he left behind a generation of historians trained to see the Igbo past not as a footnote to European expansion, but as a story with its own internal logic, its own turning points, and its own heroes. Africa had its own heroes, and it was Adiele Afigbo that made us see them. Among the scholars we profile today, none was more controversial or more creatively daring than Professor Catherine Acholonu. Born on the 26th of October 1951, she earned her doctorate in English and African literature from the University of Düsseldorf, Germany, and returned to Nigeria as a poet, researcher, and polemicist of unusual energy. She taught at Alvaniko Federal College of Education in Owerri, and in 1982 founded AFA, a journal of creative writing, the first academic journal in Nigeria devoted entirely to African literature. But it was her scholarship on Igbo prehistory and identity that made her. Her 1989 monograph, The Igbo Roots of Olaudah Equiano, attempted to trace the ancestry of the great 18th century abolitionist and memorist Olaudah Equiano, who claimed in his autobiography to have been born in Igbo land to a specific community in Iseke, Ihiala, in today's Anambra State. The book generated fierce debate. Historians, including Professor Elizabeth Isichei, writing in the Journal of African History, and scholars Paul Edwards and Christopher Faye, critiqued its methodology as insufficiently rigorous, particularly its reliance on oral genealogies of questionable historicity. Acholonu stood by her research. The debate itself was productive. It forced a more serious engagement with the questions of Olaudah Equiano's origins than the Academy had previously undertaken. In 1995, she published Modernism, the Afrocentric Alternative to Feminism, arguably her most philosophically sustained work. Modernism proposed that African women's historical relationship to land, community, and cosmology could not be adequately theorized through the lens of Western feminism and required its own intellectual framework rooted in African ontology. Her later works, including the Gram Code of African Adam, 2005, and They Lived Before Adam, 2009, which won the International Book Award in the United States in the multicultural non-fiction category, ventured into more speculative territory, arguing for the deep prehistoric origins of the Igbo people. These works attracted both the admiration and academic skepticism in equal measure. What is beyond dispute is this: Professor Catherine Acholonu asked questions that others had not dared to formalize. She insisted with unembarrassed conviction that the intellectual history of the Igbo people extended beyond the colonial encounter and that recovering it required imagination as well as evidence. She died on the 18th of March 2014. She had authored over 16 published works in Igbo history and fiction. The three scholars we have so far profiled are all Igbo. The fourth is not. And that distinction matters because Professor Elizabeth Isichei's contribution to Igbo history demonstrates something important: that the most rigorous scholarship is not always a function of origin, it is a function of method. Elizabeth Isichei, born Elizabeth Alo, is a New Zealand-born historian of Africa who spent much of her career at institutions in Britain and New Zealand. In 1976, she published a history of the Igbo people with Macmillan, the first comprehensive single-volume history of the Igbo people, from their earliest traceable origins through the aftermath of the Nigerian genocidal war against the Igbo. Professor Isichei wrote as an outsider with insider sources. She drew on oral traditions, missionary records, colonial archives, and the emerging Igbo academic scholarship of her contemporaries, including Professor Adiele Afigbo, whose work she engaged critically and respectfully. She did not romanticize her subject. She also did not condescend to it. The book has not been without criticism. Some have questioned her treatment of the post-Biafran reconciliation, arguing it underestimates the power and depth of post-colonial suffering. Her engagement with Christian mission history has been seen by some readers as reflecting her own religious perspectives as well. But these are debates within a framework she created, and that is the mark of a foundational work. A history of the Igbo people gave students, researchers, and general readers across Nigeria, across the diaspora, and across the world a single serious point of entry into the Igbo history that had never been mapped in its entirety. 4 scholars, 4 different methods, 4 different battles. Professor Angulu Onwuejeogwu reconstructed the philosophical architecture of a civilization. Adiele Afigbo documented the violence done to it and the resistance it generated. Professor Catherine Acholonu insisted on its deep time, its roots in a past far older than the colonial encounter. And Professor Elizabeth Isichei marked its entirety, giving the world a single chronicle where there had been silence. None of them worked in isolation. They read each other, cited each other, challenged each other. Good historiography is never a solo act. The Igbo people number today among one of the largest ethnic groups dispersed globally and economically dynamic in all countries where they are found, even around the African continent. Their diaspora spans London, Houston, Toronto, and every other part of the world. Their literature, from Professor Chinua Achebe to Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, is part of the world literature studied today across various universities. They have become a part of the world's literary canon. The confidence to occupy a space in world story requires foundation. It requires knowing where you come from and trusting that the story of where you come from is worth telling. These four scholars built that foundation. The bronze objects of Igbo-Ukwu did not wait to be discovered. They were always there in the earth that is keeping their record. These scholars were the ones who learned to read it. And if you enjoy this beautiful documentary highlighting the contributions of these four historians, Professor Angulu Onwuejeogwu, Professor Adiele Afigbo, Professor Catherine Acholonu, and Professor Elizabeth Isichei, their contributions to Igbo history and its documentation, please hit the subscribe button and let us know what you think in the comment section. Which of them have you read his or her work the most? And what do you think about their contributions? If this is your first time of coming across any of our videos, please hit the subscribe button. I will see you in my subsequent videos. Please check our channel. You will see a full profile of Professor Elizabeth Isichei that we have published earlier. Kindly watch that video as well and let us know what you think about the documentary. See you in my subsequent videos. My name, once again, is Prince Ngozi Chukwuka Fortune, and I will see you in my next videos. Bye!